Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Worthy, Worth and Priceless. Today's episode is titled God Prepared Me. So, before we start anything, I would like to let you know that my dad actually passed away last Thursday on January 30th. Um, so, but before God prepared me, He healed me. I was able to reconnect with my dad, and we were able to for a few months, really like connect and talk. He encouraged me about things about Vea and it I just think back on it and through our conversations, it was healing the little girl in me. I finally had the father that I needed, as a child. Sometimes parents, when you're younger, they may say or do things that you don't quite understand, but he was able to explain the reason why he did certain things. And it was so funny because I remember when we were younger, our dad would not even let us leave like the front yard. You know what I mean? Like we had a grocery store right down the street. He wouldn't even let us walk with our friends or anything. Like we were, basically confined either to the front yard or the house. And he explained, he was like, I was just afraid. He was like, there was a lot of stuff going on, down there and everything because we lived in Bainbridge, Georgia. And he was like, there's a lot of things going on down there. And he was like, I was just afraid. So I just wanted y'all just to stay in the front yard or, where I could see you and things like that. And so, um, even among other things, like, he was telling me that, um, he knew I was always going to make it and things like that. And just like I said, just encouraging me so very much. And it was so needed. And I didn't even realize throughout all the years, like my dad has always gave me encouragement, has always been there even when I needed him. And I thank God because now that my dad has passed on, I have peace. Um, there's nothing the same thing with my brother, but there's nothing left unsaid, and there's nothing that I could have done more or anything. I did as much as I could for him while he was on this earth, and I am so godly thankful for that. But where the part where he prepared me was that all of a sudden, I don't know, like a month or two or somewhere around the time um before my dad's passing, I think maybe even after my brother's passing, all of a sudden I started hearing and listening to the song "I Will Be There" by 112. And if you saw the interview um, that I did with Mike, I told him about that song and how that song has been there for me and everything. And so the song, just started playing in my head and all this other stuff. And I just, I would play it all the time. It was like I made a whole 112 playlist, and that song was like the first song on the playlist. Cool. The next thing I know, it's like I just was thinking about it this week and I was just, just playing the song or whatever. And what I realized was that God was preparing me for my dad to pass by having me listen to that song. God was reminding me that he will always be there for me. And I just like, not just like my dad, but actually God himself. He will always be there for me. And he did the same thing when my grandmother passed away. If I'm not mistaken, it was the same day and my grandmother passed away, but I didn't know my grandmother passed away, but I was at church. And while I was at church, um, I'm getting prayed over, things like that. You go to the front of the church, all of that. And the pastor was saying, God said he'll never leave you. He'll never leave you. And he kept repeating it as a prophecy. It was like God said he'll never leave you. And I'm like, not saying that that wasn't okay, but then the next thing I know, my grandmother passed away. And I know we talked about it before, but I associated God with with my mom, well, my grandmother so much because, if something went wrong, you can call your grandmother, she can get a prayer through. But God was letting me know that He was going to always be there for me. And then now, like I said, like my dad passed away, and God was still allowing me to know, hey, I am there for you. I am there for you. I'm going to be there for you. And so that is the encouragement that I want to give to anyone. If you do have the chance to speak to your parent, make sure you pray about it first because they're all parents is whatever. But everyone isn't on the up and up. But pray if it is your desire to speak back to that parent, talk to that parent. Pray to God to soften their heart, prepare you and prepare them. Pray that God gives you enough time to heal whatever needs to be healed, have whatever conversation that needs to be had, because you never know. I wouldn't wish a parent's death on anyone, but the worst thing is for a parent to pass away and you not have closure, you not have the answers that you need. So I love you guys. Please be encouraged and always know that you are worthy, worth it, and priceless.